Today I want to introduce all ya nasties, all ya big eye greedy licorice people, to one of my favorite Caribbean treats. Well, I say treats because I enjoy it. Aloha Myke, buen dia, servus, salud, salamu alaikum, namaste, and how ya day, ya nasties. So, today I'm making a cassava pone. Did somebody say cassava pone? You may be asking, what a cassava pone day? It is basically a cake in a sense, but not really. I just tell ya, it is a completely vegan dessert, I guess you can call it, which typically would be a dessert. We pone it up and it is delicious for all ya long belly people. With this recipe, let's just say if you've ever made a smoothie before, if you've ever opened an oven door and closed it, you can do this. Like, I have confidence that the most dotish one of you out there that's watching, like the person who has absolutely no clue in the world what cooking is, I have the utmost confidence that even you can do this. And if you can't, at least you'll have fun trying, you know? When most people think of Florida, they think of today at 10, Florida man tries to rob a GameStop wearing a transparent bag on his head. Florida man claims his wife was kidnapped by holograms. Or, Florida can't get their votes counted again. Florida done messed this up. Oh, there's an alligator crossing the street and eating baby chickens out of the back of a damn truck that's been pulled over because he's been selling crack. Actually, there's probably a lot of negative things that people think about for Florida, which is understandable. As a Florida native, I get it. We're not exactly, well, we're Florida. But the good thing about Florida is actually a mixing pot when it comes to food. Thus, this recipe. Growing up in Florida, I was lucky enough to be surrounded by beautiful, amazing cultures from around the world. I live in a melting pot of Orlando, Florida, which means we get even more because we're a tourist capital. Now that the planet is releasing people from home and telling them that they shouldn't stay at home, or not that they shouldn't stay at home, but they're just simply saying, you don't have to stay at home. I know all of your bacchanales. The first thing you go do is find yourself a party, and next thing you know, you're showing up to a fete and no food in your hands. You can't make love on hungry belly. You be liming pon the beach. You just come in my house with your hands swinging. There's... You want me to cuff your gullet? Alright, let's get started with the ingredients. Here they are. Grab them, put them on your counter, and let's go. I'm just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. Now for this recipe, you're gonna need 3 cups of cassava. If you don't know what cassava is, this is what cassava looks like. Now I'm not expecting you to go out, buy a bunch of this, and grate it down. We've got things to do. So I want you to go to a local store. Most of the local stores are starting to carry it now in their frozen section where they have their international foods. But if you live close to either a Caribbean or a Hispanic market, then I would say 9 out of 10 times they're gonna have it there like this. Now this is grated for you already. It's frozen, so you pull it out the day before, and you let it thaw, measure out 3 cups. Alors, you'll need 1 cup of grated coconut and 1 cup of grated pumpkin. Now, if you do not have an actual place to get pumpkin, you can use the canned pumpkin. However, I would caution you against that because sometimes it has a tendency to get a little too wet on the inside and it takes longer to bake and either dries out or becomes uber gummy, and we don't want that. Now if you're wondering what the pumpkin looks like, now don't go out and buy one of those big jack-o'-lantern pumpkins. This is what you're going to see in the store. It's usually a orangey, kind of creamish, beigey color with lines of green in it. Basically, it will say calabaza or it will just say pumpkin. But you want 1 cup of this that you peel, obviously remove the seeds, grate that down. As far as the coconut goes, if you don't want to sit and grate down a coconut, trust me, I get it. We've all done it, maybe not all of us, but I've done it and it sucks. So you can go in the same place you buy your cassava, you can also buy grated coconut, and it's so much easier to just open the bag and dump it in there. You need 1.5 cups of coconut milk. That's a little less than a can, just your standard can of coconut milk. You're gonna need 3 teaspoons of margarine. Now you can use butter, but we are doing a vegan version of this, so we are using margarine. If you do live near a place where you can get West Indian products, look for Golden Ray margarine. That's the best. 1 cup of packed brown sugar. So you want to pack in that measuring cup really tight so we get a nice hefty cup of brown sugar. And as far as the spices go, I just have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I have 1 teaspoon of ginger root powder, or just ginger, dried ginger. I have a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and an 1/8 teaspoon of allspice. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and to that vanilla extract I've taken 1 vanilla bean that I've cut and scraped out the seeds, and I dashed it in there as well. Last but certainly not least, we're going to take 1 navel orange. We're going to zest it and chop that really fine. Now, the rest of the orange, I suggest go ahead and eat it. It's good for you, you know? Get your vitamin C. Now, how do I make this? You've shown me all the ingredients. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna add our cassava, our pumpkin, our coconut, and our coconut milk into a blender. And we're gonna blend that down until we get a nice little like battery consistency. Next thing we're gonna do to this is we're going to pour this into a bowl and add in the other ingredients and just mix it up. To this mixture, we wanna go ahead and add in our margarine. We're gonna add in our brown sugar. Now we're just going to dump in all of our spices. Our vanilla with the vanilla bean. The baking powder. And last but not least, our zest. Now that we've mixed everything down into our bowl, we're gonna take a pan that's this big by this big. It's just a half pan, half hotel pan. Basically get whatever you want to bake in it. We're gonna spray it with some cooking spray. We're gonna dump this in there and we're gonna dash it in the oven for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. Alright, you nasties. So while this is baking, I want to tell a little nostalgic story. Pour a little bit of my insides out to you. While I was preheating the oven, I had a little bit of nostalgia pop into my head. It was really kind of nice. Not that you really care, but I need to fill some time. While I was preheating the oven this afternoon for this recipe, I kind of went back in time. And I remember when I was a little kid, my mom used to always turn on the oven light whenever she was baking. Now she did that, not for her sake, but to let us kids know that the oven was hot. And now as an adult, I find that I do the same thing, except to tell me that it's hot. Obviously I don't have any kids, but it's probably still good because, you know, I still like to just randomly touch things. There's my little nostalgia for the day. Now our pone is baked, it's cooled, and we have cut it up into some nice little pieces there. You can serve this plain like this. You can dust it with some powdered sugar, maybe some cinnamon. Maybe you want to put a little fruit sauce on it. You can do whatever you want with it. It's your dessert. I said, continue being kind, continue being compassionate, of course be human, but most of all, wash your hands, you nasty. See you next time. Margin. You want me to blaze your tail, boy? 3 tablespoons. Nope. If you can use your red licorice. You hear this? You does hear this? I go cuff your gullet. Papa watching.